from the big smoke to Slaapstad. There's plenty to unpack politically this week. In Jozi, a temporary leadership vacuum ahead of the G20 Summit has coalition partners outraged.
It's a complaint to the MEC of COGTA saying that, there's actually nobody running the ship because our mayor is in Brazil, our COO is in Spain. We don't have an acting CM because Floyd Brink was meant to step in from November 1st, which is not happening anymore, and we can talk about that later.
And in the Western Cape, the DA's blue wave has swallowed up some senior ANC members left out in the cold.
That show of force in Western Cape, them saying that this is the tip of the iceberg, we are expecting more and more people to join, and even Neville Delport himself, the now former Secretary of the Western Cape ANC, saying that I'm bringing over more people are going to join, a major loss for the ANC in that province.
Stay tuned over the next short while for my discussions with News 24 journos Alex Patrick as well as Siyamtanda Capa next. Later in the show, Mahatma Gandhi was arrested in Durban on this day in South African history, a regular segment at the end of the show.
New episodes of The Lead air Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m.
Oh, did you see the breaking news about Angelo Agrizzi's plea and sentencing deal? We'll give our hot take before signing off. My name's Graeme Raubenheimer, this is The Lead, and this is the South African story. To our top story today, is the city of Johannesburg a rudderless ship at the moment? While Mayor Dada Marero is currently out of town in Brazil, whilst the city manager post is only being filled from next month. The chief operations officer is also, out of office. All just 2 weeks ahead of Jozi hosting the world with the G20 Summit. While Metro reporter Alex Patrick is here to fill us in. Welcome back to The Lead, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
Would you ever run for mayor, Alex?
Absolutely not. It's the worst job ever. There's no money. You're not going to fix anything. I've always said to them, this is the worst job. I don't know how you do it.
Sure. Okay. Not an awful lot of confidence there anyway.
Nope.
So there's this leaked coalition partners in inverted commas letter that was, sent to you, which essentially informs the reporting of one of our top stories on News 24 today, a city on autopilot, Johannesburg's top leaders out of town ahead of G20. Without revealing exactly, obviously, who had sent you that letter, what does the letter reveal, Alex?
So it was sent by one of the coalition partners, so by Dada Marero's team, and basically it's a complaint to the MEC of COGTA saying that there's actually nobody running the ship because our mayor is in Brazil, our COO is in Spain. We don't have an acting CM because Floyd Brink was meant to step in from November 1st, which is not happening anymore, and we can talk about that later. So there's actually nobody running the ship.
Sure. Okay, so who is the acting mayor at the moment? Who's really in charge here?
So in charge at the moment is the Development and Planning MMC, Eunice Mhlina.
Okay, so Floyd Brink only starts from the 1st of December, and even the chief operations officer is also not in office at the moment. So, we're 2 weeks away from the G20 Summit. What does readiness look like at the moment? Can you see an awful lot of change on the ground?
Well, I must say that there is, the place has been turned into a construction site. I'm going to be honest and say that it's a construction site in places where G20 members, attendees will be going. Funny enough, the Panyazo Lesufi was saying that he's getting calls from Ramaphosa, our president, who is actually a resident of Johannesburg. Apparently, President Ramaphosa has been sneakily going around the city and checking things out, and then, giving the Premier a call and saying, what about this, what about that? So, yes, there is a lot going on, but I still maintain that it's not for everyone. It's for the G20.
Look, we're laughing at the idea, right, of the president sort of like not telling anybody he's in town and he's like, this pothole needs to be fixed. We're laughing at that, folks. We're not laughing at the fact that we need the president to tell the mayor how to do his job. Or are we, Alex?
Oh, goodness. I don't actually know. I don't know what we're laughing at. We're just laughing so that we're not crying. I just wanted to go back to why it's so important, why the city manager issue is such a contentious issue. And the problem there is that the council appoints, so they make an okay on the appointment. And the okay was for Floyd Brink to start his tenure on the 1st of November or a few days after that. I don't know if the first was a weekend or whatever. But the problem is then that he was basically then immediately appointed and the acting CM then immediately stepped down. So that's why you have that gap there. I just wanted to explain, that gap.
Is there still a contestation about the fact that Floyd Brink is going to be taking up this position?
No, not at all. In terms of the grading and the marks, he's 10 points ahead of the next person.
Right. But it is such a critical position that you thought would have been filled a lot sooner, especially in line of the fact that we've got the world coming to our doorstep.
Well, absolutely. And that's one of the major issues is that you have 30 days to fill that position or to, you put in your acting and then you advertise the job. Floyd Brink stepped down after the courts kind of forced him to on the 14th of December last year. So it's almost a year that we haven't had an administrative head. There's a big problem with that. That means we don't have access to loans, etc. It got so bad that the MEC of COGTA actually put the acting CM in place so that Johannesburg would have money to run.
G20 readiness, you say there's sort of some changes on the ground. I mean, Dada Marero's X account, formerly known as Twitter, I mean, you can see some of the updates that he's giving there. They've really sort of, what it appears on the face of it, been very service delivery led in the last couple of weeks, trimming back trees, taking, complaints and messages from members of the public saying, hey, maybe come and fix up this part of the city, or there's a big pothole in this inner city. But did you see this, Alex? Donald Trump, the US president, although the writing's been on the wall for a long time, he's not coming, apparently.
Oh, goodness. Well, I think, let me not give an opinion.
Okay. Ending off, what does this mean now for the budget process that still needs to happen now, despite the fact that we've got the G20? There's still a lot of awfully important council functions that's still got to happen, right? So it's a busy end of year for the city of Johannesburg.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the time when we start looking at the adjusted budget. So that's, we put aside X for this, but now we need maybe a little bit more here and maybe a little bit more there. So this is the time when those decisions are made. So, that again, you have these missing actors and they've got two major jobs. They've got their job to play and, getting ready for the G20. And it's an important time of year. And not to mention they're going to knock off, very soon. So after the G20, it all goes quiet.
Sure. That's Alex Patrick. It's our News 24 Metro journalist. She keeps a sharp eye on all things happening in the centre of Johannesburg, much to the grey hairs forming on her head, although she very cleverly hides them away, right, Alex?
That's true. That's why I'm blonde.
Trending topic.
Moving to our trending topic today, and political floor crossings are happening left, right and centre in the DA-led stronghold of the Western Cape. Just yesterday, top provincial ANC man, you heard it right here in the previous edition of The Lead, that's Neville Dalport, and 3 other regional party members defected to the DA. That's following the National ANC's disbanding of its local executive committee here. Now, assessing the aftermath is our local government politics reporter, Siyamtanda Capa. She's live on the line now. Sia, what a big win for the DA's Federal Council chairperson, Helen Zille. She must have been smiling in that press conference.
Look, Graeme, Helen was in her element yesterday. She was flipping the Constitution in her arm, how she does when she's really in her element. It was a victory sort of for the DA, because just last week they lost two of their own, which we'll speak about as well. So that show of force in Western Cape, them saying that this is the tip of the iceberg, we are expecting more and more people to join. And even Neville Delport himself, the now former secretary of the Western Cape ANC in that province, saying that I'm bringing over more people are going to join. So Helen and her team, and Tertius Simmons is the leader of the DA in the province, they are saying that we are going to welcome even more people from the ANC, a major loss for the ANC in that province, yes.
So from a provincial perspective, the ANC's lost a fairly senior representative there. And then on the City of Cape Town side of things, this, of course, is the second loss in as many weeks. There was also another scalp that the DA claimed there as well, right?
100%. Look, the ANC in Western Cape has been weak for a long time.
Sure.
They're in a fragile state. They've just been reconfigured last week. So things are not looking great for the ANC in that province. Now, this week, them having their former boss leaving, mostly because he was demoted, it's a huge blow.
And here they sort of parachute in the ousted former ambassador to the United States, and of course one-time Premier Ibrahim Rasool. He's still a very senior member of the ANC and still enjoys quite a big supportership here in the Western Cape. But look, it's not as if the DAs, come out as just the big winners here. It's not too long ago that the PA came knocking on the door too, right?
Whilst we're seeing that the DA is taking ANC members, I have noticed that I think the battle for the City of Cape Town and some municipalities in Western Cape is mainly between the DA and the Patriotic Alliance. And the PA has been they've been open about how they're targeting that colored vote. They've been targeting those rural municipalities, those outliers where no one is really looking. The strategy is to go in through the rural areas, the Cape Winelands, and they've been winning some by-elections there. I'm not saying that by-elections signal what might happen in the elections, but them targeting those parts of the province and those municipalities, it shows that the PA is really, really making inroads. I think we've also covered it and spoken about how they are making serious inroads there, and it is shaking the DA.
Right. A couple of DA members in the city of George, although it's not technically classified as one of the big 8 metros, but people in George like to call it a city. A couple of DA members there defected to the PA. How is the ANC, going back to yesterday's major developments, how's the ANC responded to all of this? I understand that you had an interview with the provincial spokesperson.
Besides the interview, I also spoke to some people in the Western Cape just to get a sense of their reaction. And when I told one of the people there, look, this is happening right now, she was shocked. She was so shocked. So they didn't know that was about to happen. Even the one would expect it from last week's reconfiguration by ANC Secretary Fikile Mbalula, the party in the Western Cape seemed surprised, and the spokesperson dropped a statement during the proceedings, and for me that shows that they might even be hurt. And the language that it was using there, that the DA is scraping at the bottom of the barrel of the ANC, and these people that they've taken are not even resourceful to them. So their reaction says a lot. And then the ANC nationally also then dropped a statement saying, it's fine, he can go. He was never really good enough for us, and this is renewal, and him leaving shows that he was never really the kind of leader that they want. So if I'm looking at that, you can just see about, number one, they're shocked, they're hurt, and they didn't expect it.
you can see from the national government, provincial government elections and the results that have shown in the Western Cape in 2024, the DA doesn't have as strong as a majority in the province as it previously did. It kind of slipped down to around the 55% mark, and the ANC is still clinging to just below that 19% mark. And again, that 55% for the DA only really equates to about just more than 1 million. So it really also shows that in order for these parties to gain a bit more of a foothold, they also need people to come out and vote. What are the political analysts saying about all this floor crossing happening here in the province?
The one analyst that I spoke to wasn't surprised in light of last week's developments with the reconfiguration, but he then said for the ANC, he doesn't understand why they continue even pumping resources and paying too much attention to the area, because they remain weak, they can't grow, and them stagnating in that part of the country might even be accredited to the other smaller parties coming in, because the space is no longer the same. They are not just now competing against the DA. There's other players in that space. So the analysts that I spoke to said it was expected, and it all comes down in Western Cape to race and identity politics, unfortunately.
Sure. It's just so interesting, Sia, and to see the mirroring of the PA sort of making slow but eyebrow-raising gains, both within the city of Johannesburg and now within the Western Cape, right?
100%. And look, the COJ award win that other week was shocking, because it's Soweto. And the ANC had never lost a ward in Soweto. So that was and the PA rode that wave of their victory, historic win. And they're also making inroads in Eastern Cape as well, that the ANC in Eastern Cape has said we are actually losing ground to the PA. So their strategy of making promises such as jobs and giving people food and offering tangible sort of things to people has been paying off. And yesterday, with Helen Zille made that spoke to the rumors that are going around about PA actually paying people to join. It's allegations, and she said that she knows that the PA does it. So whatever their strategy is in getting the support that they're getting has been working for them so far. Whether or not that is actually going to yield any fruit in the long term, is it sustainable? Because I know what happened was it Beaufort West, when they had support there? When we went back to Beaufort West, people were not speaking very glowingly about them months after the elections. And I don't know the sustainability of the PA strategy in getting support and actually keeping it and showing people that they can actually deliver on the promises that they make. Yeah. But the PA is 100% clinching those wards and making inroads, not just in Western Cape.
So what are the big takeaways here, just to end off here? Correct me if I'm wrong. The ANC, continues to lose major ground. It's the biggest loser out of all of this, especially in a province which it hasn't really been able to bounce back after initially losing to the DA in 2009. The DA, is also seemingly making gains, but also at the same time seemingly making losses to the PA. And the PA seems to be making some inroads, but like you say, whether or not that's sustainable or not remains to be seen. Do we have that as a nice bow to wrap on our conversation?
Absolutely. And for all these parties, for me, I think some of the municipalities in Western Cape are really for anyone's taking if you go in there and campaign properly, especially in these rural areas. People are waiting and wanting to hear what each party has to offer. And I think people are really also moving away from these sentimental politics. They want to hear, what are you offering right now, and they're going to go with it. Are you speaking to me? Are you going to represent me? Especially in Western Cape, identity politics, they are a serious thing, concerning, but that's the situation. That's the way things are right now there. So this story for me, I had so much fun writing it. It was interesting, and also just looking at what is happening there, and also the fact that the DA paraded someone who has spoken openly against them. That was it was even shocking even. And it just gives a glimpse into what's going to happen ahead of this election, and I think it's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be interesting come this time next year when we have these conversations again so close to the local government elections. Siyamtanda Capa and Nkosi kakhulu. Have a fantastic day. Her latest piece, DA ANC PA defection drama reshapes Western Cape 2026 election battle. Thanks so much for your time on The Lead.
Thank you so much, Graeme.
Looking for a smarter weekend scroll? The Weekender is your ultimate guide to bold stories, sharp opinion, and a fresh lens on life in Mzansi. From exclusive interviews and powerful essays to wine picks, playlists, and pop culture gems, it's your perfect weekend read all in one place, landing every Saturday on News 24. And finally, ending off now with On This Day in South African History, the 6th of November 1913, when it was on the eve of the First World War. And on this very day, Mahatma Gandhi was arrested while leading a peaceful march of some 2,000 Indian mine workers in protest against the discriminatory tax imposed on former indentured labourers in South Africa. The march was part of his 1913 passive resistance campaign, following years of activism that began with his founding of the National Indian Congress and the newspaper Indian Opinion. Gandhi's philosophy of non-violent resistance would later inspire global movements for justice, including Mzansi's very own Defiance campaign back in 1952. Time now for a hot take before we sign off. Angelo Agrizzi has pleaded guilty to corruption, but he's avoided narrowly jail time in a plea and sentencing deal with the state. While our journalist Alex Mitchley reports that the former Bosasa chief operating officer has now pleaded guilty to corruption as well as money laundering, but has escaped jail time. A lot of you in the comment section on our trending topic feel that he's flipping lucky, quote unquote, to avoid jail. Agrizzi, in fact, appeared virtually in the courts today. He was seen wearing an oxygen mask at the time. Simza writes in the comment section, well, it's nice to have an oxygen mask. And Starlord responds, borrowed from Shabir. Of course, that reference to Shabir Sheikh in relation to one of the first to go behind bars, one of the first to be sentenced in connection with the long-standing arms deal trial. If you go back in the annals of South African history, you'll find that there are very few public office bearers or senior government public officials that have ended up spending jail time for corruption or crimes or otherwise. And more often than not, their terms are either very short or they're let out soon after spending a very limited time behind bars. What say you? Drop us a voice note to 072 562 3179. Drop us your mails, theleader24.com. Hit like, follow, and subscribe on all our various platforms. Anywhere you get your podcasts these days. Well, The Lead's back to regular programming, Monday to Thursday, 7 p.m, like clockwork. My name's Graeme Raubenheimer, and so long as there's trusted news first, we'll always have The Lead.